CS, welcome to CS Online. Tonight, we are so excited that you're hanging out with us. I just want to give you a few quick updates before we jump into what we're doing tonight. The first thing is we updated our May calendar for CS. So we're going to actually be meeting with youth group all throughout this month, which is super exciting because there's not much to do, right? So it's exciting to at least have something to look forward to on Sunday nights. But we also have 3 new things that I want to tell you about. The first is we have an interactive Bible study we're going to be doing on Zoom. So whoever wants to come can come. It's on a Friday night. We're going to spend some time together studying the Bible, and we're going to try a new way. So maybe it will help you even learn how to study the Bible in a different way that's really helps bring the Bible to life. So that's really cool. We also have some interviews we're going to be doing with some students to get to know more people. So we're going to be posting those on IGTV and also YouTube. And lastly, we're going to have a game night for CS that's going to be a ton of fun. We're actually going to break up into CMS and CHS and also into genders. So you'll be able to hang out with a small group of guys or girls, and we're going to just play fun games with your small group leaders on Zoom. That's going to be a ton of fun too. So check that out. It's on Instagram. It's on our website. We sent an email about it. But we would love for you to get plugged in any way possible in these next couple of weeks. Because, you know, there's a lot we could be doing. But the best thing we can do is to spend time together and grow in our relationship with God. But also, like, just spend time in community. It's so important in these times not to feel isolated. I know that for myself. But tonight, before we jump into everything, you know, I miss hearing from you guys and just being able to play fun games together. So tonight we're going to be playing Would You Rather, and you're going to put in the comments which one you would rather. You can either use the emoji or just type the word, but we would love to see which one would you rather. All right, ready? Let's jump into it.
So, when you don't know how to do something, how to fix something, or how something works, what do? Ask a teacher? Ask your parents? Ask your friends? Ask someone you really know and trust? No! You go to the internet and ask some randos. But I'm not talking about creeps here, I hope. No, I mean the people of the internet! You know, those people who make how-to videos. Because chances are, if you're trying to figure out something, someone on the internet has already figured it out for you. Things like, how do I unsend a text? No. How do I do a winged eyeliner? How do I get rid of the zit by Friday night? How do I get out of gym class? How do I screen cap Snapchat without getting caught? They'll never know. But then there are things in life that don't have an easy fix, that don't have a simple solution, that don't have a how-to video. Things like what to do when you have problems with family, or when it seems like you have no control in your life, or what to do when someone has done something to you. I mean, clearly, they gotta go. The truth is, there's a lot of life that doesn't have a solution you can just find online. So how do you know what to do when you don't know what to do?
Just the other day, I was at the grocery store, and it was one of those marathon trips where I loaded up on everything. You know, the kind of trips where your parents stocked up on all the greatest things. Bagel Bites, Cool Ranch Doritos with extra ranch power, and those cupcakes with swirls on top. Well, I didn't get all that type of stuff on this trip. I was just there to pick up the essentials, and I even found toilet paper in the process. About halfway back to my car, I noticed a $20 bill on the ground. Feel free to judge me all you want, but these are the thoughts that went through my head. Just ignore it and leave it there. Like whoever dropped it will come back and look. No, ignore thought number one. Just take it, because God gave you a special $20 bill from heaven. You need to take this inside and give it to the manager. Surely someone will come back and look for it. Better me than someone else. It's the parking lot. It's not like someone dropped it by the register. If it was a big deal to them, they wouldn't have lost it to begin with. And if I take it back to the employee, they're probably just gonna keep it. Plus, I was in a rush with all these options, and the question on my mind was, what should I actually do? I believe some of you guys listening confidently would say, take it to the manager, that's the right thing. Others of you would say, take the money, it's not a moral issue. Here's what I'm getting at. Knowing what to do isn't always simple in the moment. And that's what we're gonna be talking about in this series, what to do when you don't know what to do. Today we're gonna be looking into the dilemma of what to do when we don't know what is right and what is wrong. It would be nice if doing the right thing was always clear and always obvious, but we all know that that isn't the case. Sometimes the right thing isn't obvious. If you're dating someone but you're texting someone else a lot and you're like, well, I'm not cheating on anyone, we're just texting at 2 a.m., that's not wrong, right? Or is it? Or if your teammate's going on about how your coach is such a jerk and they got benched for no reason, but you know really that they need to work on their passing game. Is it wrong to tell them that? Obviously it would hurt for sure, but is it wrong not to tell them that? Because if they could fix this one thing, they could get in the game more often. Or if you have a friend who's doing something that really bothers you and you don't know if you should talk to them about it or not, you're wondering, if I confront them, am I going to just look like a jerk? Is this my issue or is this their issue? Or should I just get over this? The question is, what is even the right thing to do in these situations? And sometimes the right thing is going to cost us something. Once I decided to return the $20 bill to customer service, I knew it would cost me something, literally 20 bucks. Maybe you know the right thing is to be honest with your parents, but if you're honest with them, you'll probably lose your phone. Or you know the right thing isn't to be in that relationship anymore, but if you break up, you'll be single and alone. You know the right thing isn't to let someone cheat off your test, but if you say no, then you're gonna somehow feel like you're gonna be a loser. It'll cost you socially. You know the right thing is to decline when someone offers you a drink, but it seems like everyone who's drinking is having a fun time. So saying no is gonna cost you a good time and maybe even a good story to tell on Monday. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes what's right feels complicated. And even when we don't know what's right, sometimes it's difficult to actually do it. So with that in mind, let's pick back up with Joseph. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about this guy who was one of the most famous people in early history. And his story is wild, like sold into slavery by your own brothers wild. And what we're gonna look at today can be a game changer for all of us. It's gonna help us know what to do when we don't know what to do. Now, where we pick back up this week, Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. But then, out of this crazy situation, Joseph was given an ability to work in the house of the officer of Pharaoh. And Pharaoh was like a king, an emperor, and a president all rolled into one thing. Whatever Pharaoh said, that's what happened. Period. So you can imagine working for one of Pharaoh's important officials was kind of a stressful thing, because depending on the situation, it could go either really bad or it could go really well. Now, like we mentioned last week, the author was quick to point out that God was with Joseph, and he had favor with the officials, whose name was Potiphar. The Lord was with Joseph, so he prospered, and he lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything that he did, Joseph found favor in the eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household and entrusted to his care everything that he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was everything Potiphar had, both in the house and on the field. Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food that he ate. Things weren't so bad for Joseph because Potiphar trusted him. And things weren't bad for Potiphar because with Joseph in charge, everything was thriving. But then things took a weird turn. Now, Joseph was a well-built and handsome guy. He was like a stud. And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said this. She said, "Come to bed with me." So this tells us two things. Apparently, Joseph was not a bad-looking guy, and second is his wife's boss noticed. Now this is where things get a little complicated. Because Joseph was a servant, he was required to obey not only Potiphar, but also his wife. And if he refused her commands, there would be nothing holding her back from punishing him. He could be kicked out of their household, which wasn't such a good thing because it was a good place to be, or even it could cost him his life. But if he did what she asked for, he would create a whole nother set of problems. She was married to his boss. Both options came with problems, and it wasn't an easy or clear answer. So what did Joseph do when he didn't know what to do? Listen to what the next part of the story says. But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns has been entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. Basically, out of respect for Potiphar and even a greater respect for God, Joseph simply did the next right thing. Joseph didn't make a decision based upon how things may turn out for him, like losing his job or even losing his life. He made his decision based upon what was right, and what was right in that moment was to turn down Potiphar's wife. It was complicated, it was challenging, but it was really the right thing to do. It wasn't exactly like his life was perfect as a result of making the right choice. In fact, things actually got worse for Joseph. Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of rape, and Potiphar believed his wife, and Joseph was thrown into prison. Not exactly the happy ending you're hoping for when you do the right thing. But Joseph didn't make his decision based upon what it would mean for him. He did what was right in the eyes of God and trusted God. But there's a word I want you to know that changes everything when it comes to doing what's right, and that word is integrity. Maybe you've heard this word before. Integrity means being the kind of person who does what's right, regardless of the outcome and regardless of who's around. Sometimes doing the right thing will get you an applause, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes doing the right thing will cost you something, and sometimes it won't. Sometimes doing the right thing may make you look good, and sometimes it's going to make you look stupid. We don't get to decide how things turn out for us, but we do get to decide what kind of person we want to be. And being a person of integrity will lead to a life with less regret, more respect, and a better idea of what to do in every situation. And most importantly, our relationship with God, because God calls us to be followers of Him and to imitate Him wherever we go, and we want people to see Jesus in us. When we live as people of integrity, people see the gospel lived out. They see the grace that is not maybe seen elsewhere in the world. They get to see love that is beyond all measures. And when we live out our faith, we show people what it looks like to follow Jesus. And I want you guys to know that's why we have small groups. Because we need a group of people who is going to help us figure out the right thing to do in complicated situations. That's why the conversations you have in your groups are often more important than the things I sometimes even say. Because those conversations are specific to you and your life. As we head into our Zoom small group times, think about a situation where you need to do the next right thing. Think about exactly what you need to do. But just know this, you don't have to do it alone. You can tap into the help of God because He wants to help you in these situations. And you can tap into the help of others. When you don't know what to do the next right thing.